Welcome everybody to the Snobs interviews. I am very fortunate and delighted to welcome my guest on today. He has been a character actor in the business. It's been 6 decades. He's an Academy Award nominee for his short film Solly's Diner. He has played uh, huge characters on big screen and on TV. You may know him as either Charlie Butts in Escape from Alcatraz or Mr. Heckles on Friends. He also played Tom Pepper on Seinfeld, Old Joe on Breaking Bad and El Camino, and so many more. Just terrific roles from this man. And I am delighted to welcome on the show Mr. Larry Hankin.
All right, I am ready.
Well, we just kind of go right into it. It's very conversational. I'm just kind of ask you, just kind of about your career and things like that, and any stories you have for me. I'm definitely up for listening.
Okay, we'll just talk about anything you want. Really, is the way I operate. I'm an improviser. I mean, literally, Second City. The committee. So conversations are cool.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the first things. I know you started out in stand-up comedy and then you went to work in improv. And one of the things I wanted to ask about, just kind of start from the beginning, was what for you, as much as you love improv, what was it like being a stand-up comedian versus improv?
Oh, it's the greatest. I loved it. Oh man, was it great! Unfortunately, I had to get out because what I was doing at the time was actually Lenny Bruce stuff and Richard Pryor and George Carlin stuff, but mainly Lenny. And the people just wouldn't. I would go from doing incredibly great sets. I was opening for Miles Davis and the Kingston Trio and Woody Allen, and it was like big. And I was doing arena shows with the Love and Spoonful and the Blues Project and Ian and Sylvia and stuff. So what I just mentioned, that was the highs. Those were great shows. They were my audience. They were the right audience. But then I was being pulled off by the police and stuff like that. People were coming at me with beer bottles upside down in their hands. Get the fuck off the stage. And it's just crazy. So I was doing it for the fun. I wasn't doing it for the money. I didn't care about the money. I still don't to this day. It doesn't drive me. I just want to like what I'm doing, So when the police started pulling me off and guys started to come at me and they were pulling in auditoriums and arena shows where, there are old auditoriums. They have these wooden armrests on these, auditorium seats. With these, they were hitting them from behind so you can pull off the armrest. They were throwing them at me, man. The first 2 rows were pulling off. High school, college kids. This is supposed to be, sex, drugs, rock and roll. And I wasn't even doing drugs at the time. That came later, after I got off the stage. Never did any drugs while I was a stand-up comedian. I don't know why. I mean, nobody was just lighting up while I was around. It just never came near me. But everybody who I was with, for friends and all the bands and, were doing drugs. But they never did it in front of me, and I never asked. I wasn't curious. I mean, I was doing fine. In other words, there was no need. But the anger. So I called my agent. I said, I can't do it. It's not fun. It just wasn't fun. It had nothing to do with the money at all. So he said, well, join Second City because he was a smart guy. It was Woody Allen's manager, Jack Rollins. I mean, he's one of the greatest. He was great. So he told me to join Second City because they're doing the same stuff as Lenny, but they own the theater. So instead of a guy coming at you with a beer bottle, they throw him out. Which the nightclub that I was doing, the Kingston Trio, and I was opening for the Kingston Trio. This guy comes across the dance floor as a nightclub, and this beer bar, get the fuck off the stage, man. Bring on the Kingston Trio. You bet. just off the stage. But I had to quit because of that. I mean, because of that nightclub. I walked off the stage and I just sat at the bar until the guy sat down. He was just standing there in the middle of the dance floor. It's a beer bottle. So I sat at the bar, and the bartender comes over to me. He noticed everything was very quiet. He goes, "What's going on? What are you doing here?" I said, "Did you see that guy with the beer bottle come at me, man?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, well, I'm not going up there until you tell that guy to get out of here, man. He's going to come at me again. I don't have any clean material. I mean, I'm just talking. I never wrote anything. I just would get up and I would talk, but there was the same talk. I mean, I would hone it. It would get better and better, but I never wrote anything. And so I said, I don't have any, that's the material I have, which he doesn't like. So he said, get back on the stage or you don't get paid. And I said, you get rid of him and I'll get back on the stage. But if you don't get rid of him, I'm not getting back on the stage. And he said, you're fired. And I said, fine. And I walked out. And that's when this was after the police took me off the stage from the Love and Spoonful concert in Washington. I called my manager, Jack Rollins. And I said, Jack, I can't do this anymore. I'm a middle-class Jewish kid and they hate me. They are booing me off the police are taking me off the stage. A guy just came at me with a beer bottle, Jack. And he goes, oh, because I was opening for Woody Allen and they were fine, and so he said, join Second City. So I auditioned for Second City, and that's really how I got into show business and drugs. Started to smoke marijuana and stuff. It was awful. So I joined Second City, and then a group of us left because we want to go to San Francisco. Well, the group, the director who quit and said, you 5 people come with me. They were, yeah, sure. Went to San Francisco, which was the greatest move ever, because that was right at the beginning, 61, at the beginning of the 60s. And we were right in the middle of it. We got there about 2 or 3 months before the 60s, just came roaring through from, Berkeley and, I can't remember the guy who started it all. He was from Berkeley. Anyway, so that's how I got into show business. From there, it just was an easy jump down a $15 plane trip to Hollywood to audition.
Wow.
Which was really great because we were in a hit show. We all Second City people, the best. We just say, hey, let's go, man. Let's do our own thing. So we went to San Francisco. We opened up. Within a year, we were here. We struggled for a year. I mean, if the rule was if there was more people on stage than in the audience, we didn't have to do a show. That was the rule. We had a theater and stuff. So, but it slowly built. And then one day we were rehearsing right before a show. Generally, we're just brushing up on things. You don't rehearse before a show, but we were just brushing up on stuff. So we were in the theater for about a good hour before the crowds would come in, So about 15 minutes before the show, we still hadn't been outside. So I said, I'm going to go outside for some air. So I walked outside, and there was a line around the block. I mean, out of nowhere. I mean, it wasn't slowly building longer and longer. No, there was nothing, 20 people, 30 people. And then there was this line one Saturday night around the block. And I called up Hamilton Camp from somebody. He was a folk singer, but he was a great improviser, man. And so he's one of my close friends in the company. I said, come on outside. I got to show you something. He goes outside. And we walked all the way around the block, just following lines. And that was, I said, oh, well, show business isn't that bad if you own the theater. It's kind of cool. And then from then on, we were fine. And the upshot of the total upside of that was we were only a 15-minute, well, $30 round trip, maybe $35 round trip from Hollywood to San Francisco and back. Now, we would fly down every once in a while, maybe to audition for something, but we really didn't go. I mean, we didn't have any agents or managers. Sometimes we get a call from somebody, hey, but to get an audition, when you're in Hollywood, to call up and say, I want to audition for somewhere, to get an agent or a manager so you can audition, it's almost impossible. I mean, now it is impossible. I mean, I don't know how young people get along or even get into show business now. But we had a hit show and we were very close to Hollywood, and Second City was very famous, has been for a long time. But that was a long haul, a plane flight. I mean, that was 2 days. You can't just go and come back. But San Francisco, you could. You could just fly up in the afternoon, you know, see San Francisco, see our show, and fly back in the morning. You know. So the heavy hitters who you couldn't get to see in Hollywood would fly up to see, hey, I hear a great show up there, man. Let's go. They would take their wives and go, or their girlfriends, and go up there and come back. So we had the best, the heaviest hitters, the green light people were coming up to see us in a hit show. People who we could never see if we went down there. So we were being hired like crazy. We were flying back and forth for a day. You know, you'd fly, you know, it'd say, well, it's just a day or a week, you know. So if they say, oh, it's a you know, small part, just 1 day, but we really love you. So you just fly down in the, maybe in the morning and rehearse and then do the show. Or you fly down for the week, you know, for a sitcom, you know, they rehearse all week and do one show. Fly down for the week, and it was an improv show, so anybody could leave anytime because somebody else would just come in and re-improvise your part. Or you would hear it every night. You could just go out there and just do it the exact same, but it would work, you know, and either you would come back and he wouldn't give you the part back. That was, because he was getting bigger laughs than me, who had invented you know, with the other guy. So there was like that, but it was really funny. There was no animosity at all because you would do it. Everybody was switching, flying down there, making a lot of money. And then finally they wouldn't come back. It was just, no, I'm staying.
At one point, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, after a while, it was just silly. We just hired. So we were hiring people from San Francisco who didn't have the background of Second City. So then finally, when the director left to go down and direct television down there, I was the only one left because I just wasn't interested in the money, really. I just loved improvising. I mean, it was fun. You know, I was making $500 a week as an improviser. Now on stage, that's pretty good money. And, you know, I was paying my rent, and San Francisco back then was cheap enough so you could, you know, be okay. You weren't getting rich, but I didn't want to be rich. I just wanted to improvise. That's I want to stay up there. But then when the director left and I had to direct the company, and then it was only people from San Francisco. By then, everybody had, I mean, I was the only one left from the original company. I had gone through 2 companies. They'd all gone down there. I refused, man. But I was directing, and then, so that wasn't show business. Directing an improv group is very frustrating for an actor. For a director, it's wonderful, man. You can experiment and, you know, work with people and learn how not to direct. You can't tell an improv actor, you can't give him a direction.
Yeah.
It's improv. What are you doing? So you have to massage your way through it. I learned. I said, give me one thing before he left. I said to Alan Meyerson, the director, I said, give me one hint on, you know, how do you do this, man? I mean, we just are up there. I don't, you know, I know you run rehearsals, you know, you go through the exercises. There are improv exercises. We rehearse 3 times a week. So I understand that, but when you're mounting a show, how do you direct? Because he never directed us. But he said, well, what you got to do is you say, well, you know, work with the where, or work with the who, or, you know, work with the relationship. You got to be very generalized and kind of, hint. You can't. So I directed. I opened 2 shows, and they were successful. But I was so. I said, I feel when somebody interviewed me from the San Francisco Chronicle about being an actor and now directing the company, this hit company. They said, well, what's the upside? I said, there is no upside to directing an improv group. I just feel as an actor that I have 6 people between me and the audience. That's what directing is like to me. And finally, I left. Somebody else directed, or I think maybe the show closed. Maybe they just closed. I don't remember. But I went back. I went down there too because the money was good, and all my friends were down there. So.
Well, once you made that jump down to like Los Angeles and getting more into, because you've worked with some pretty prolific actors like Lucille Ball, James Garner, Debbie Reynolds, I mean, some huge names, and
Clint Eastwood,
absolutely. How was it?
Bryan Cranston. I mean, I'm blown away by the people who it amazes me.
And you are right there. Every performance I've seen of yours, absolutely, you're right there with it and give great performances.
Yeah. Well, that's just a gift. I have nothing to do with that. That's unknown to me. A lot of people have said, "Hey, you're a really good actor," and I don't know that. To this day, I don't know because I struggle. I have OCD, ADHD, and dyslexia all at the same time. So learning lines, man, to me is a mountain because of the focus involved. That's how all 3 of those in some way affect focus. It's a chemical thing. And so, I have to really blinders on. But, I mean, when I show up, I'm cool and ready, but the preparation is just monumental. So, it was kind of, but the money was good. But I just want to add something to the, you said, well, you work with great actors. Yes, I have. And I only notice it when I'm doing it. Oh boy, I'm working with Bryan Cranston. I better, be in my A game, and wow. And Bryan has a very short, I guess maybe attention span or fuse. Because I went up on my lines, and all actors go up on the lines. There's nothing difference between me and anybody else. But when I went up on my lines, just twice, I went up twice. He had an attitude, boy. Oh. Whoa. Okay. I went up, it was bothering me so much. I only went up twice, on very short lines, no big deal. But I went up, which means I forgot. People have asked me, what does it mean up? What's that mean? I forgot my lines. So on the second time, he just wouldn't even look at me in the seat. I'm talking to him. So I thought, okay, this is not going well at all. And I'm starting to get nervous. I mean, it's Bryan Cranston. It's Breaking Bad. It's big time. So I said, excuse me, I got to talk to the director. And I just walked out of the scene, in between takes. I just walked, and I walked over to the director, and I said, "Look, I'm having a little trouble here. Bryan, I just went up twice. He didn't notice. He's a director, I just went up twice on my line. And the director didn't say anything. He said, yeah, let's do it again. Hey, fine with him. But I said, Bryan is really giving me a lot of, he's like passive aggressive. He's not looking at me. He's not feeding me the lines. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I just went up on my lines, but am I doing something wrong that is bothering him? Well, he goes, Larry, he says 2 things. 1, all actors go up on their lines. And 2 is, we're losing the light. Fuck Cranston. Get back in there, will you? Okay. That kind of straightened me up. I go, all right. That was it. I didn't forget any lines or anything. He just nice. It's cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good story.
Oh, but so my point is that more than Bryan Cranston or the great actors that you say I work with, no, what I'm impressed with is the directors. The directors I work with now, they impress me, and those are the ones I carry away with me, in my head. Wow, John Huston I worked with,
Yeah.
uh, Larry David, and I can't remember all of them, but I mean, but they all in some way taught me something, literally, not like, well, you work with Bryan Cranston, you kind of get the idea of being a professional, of being on, you're on your A game and bringing it. But that I'm always there. In other words, that I don't bring it. You point the camera at me and I'm on. That's it.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what that is. That's a tropism or something. I have no idea. But directors, no, I listen to and they tell me good stuff, or even if I don't ask them, they just those are the people that I am. And John Huston is incredible, as a person, not as an artist, but just as a human making something, directing or whatever. And here's the other thing. The great directors, the really top of the line guys, they don't direct. That's the difference between, I'm telling you right now, all you people who want to be directors, the difference between a director, a television director, a sitcom director, and a really great director is they don't direct. And they don't. I mean, even if maybe they'll give you a hint of something, but even then, they just refuse to. And I asked John Huston why that is. And he said, look, casting is 80% of a director's job. Which is, you get a good script, that's 20%. And the other 80%, well, maybe a couple of cinematographer. But he said, look, you hire an actor because of the actor's choices that you've seen and that also he's making in the audition or in your conversation with this great. So why would you direct? Why would you tell somebody who makes great choices that you've chosen to be in your film? And he said 80% of directing is the actor, is casting the actor. So why would you tell him what to do? Why? I mean, he said that seems to be not right. And then Al Pacino, who said in an interview, I use directors as a safety net. They don't direct, but I like to take chances, he was saying, Al Pacino was saying. I like to take chances. So they're a safety net. If you just go too far, they'll go, whoa, and they'll catch you. Say, well, you got, let's do it again, but, bring it back a little. Okay, that's fine. Let's do it again. That's like a direction. A great director will say, well, let's do it again. Only bring it. But other than that, they're safety nets. They won't let you be bad. They won't let you make a mistake, but just go. Feed me. In other words, direct. That's what directors say. And that's what John Huston said. But he said a lot of things.
Well, cool. You have worked with with some amazing directors, and that was one of my next questions. John Huston, Don Siegel.
John Hughes, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, and John Hughes you worked with essentially 3 times because Home Alone he produced it.
Yeah, right.
You've worked with John.
That was Christopher Columbus, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a fine comedy director. Are you kidding? Yeah.
Walking in and being from, I want to get into directing because I want to talk about Solly's Diner a little bit.
Oh, great. Fine.
But first I wanted to ask you about, with the improv, you worked with another great Second City alumni in John Candy twice.
Yeah. What about it?
And I just, how did you guys get along? You guys are kind of different eras of Second City, and
no, we were right on the same page, man. We were just totally one person as far as comedy goes. I mean, we just thought alike as far as comedy goes. Yeah, he would give me jokes. He would give me the shoe in what was the name of the thing? that cop movie.
You did Armed and Dangerous.
Armed and Dangerous, yeah.
Which actually you did with another friend of mine and mentor when I lived in Los Angeles. Larry Flash Jenkins.
Larry who?
Larry Flash Jenkins. He played one of the guards. Yeah, he was in that movie as well. So it was just it was a nice connection.
John in the garbage dump scene. I don't know if you remember where they huge piles of garbage went out the garbage dump. John Candy gave me the shoe and the toothbrush. He said, "Hey man, why don't you find this?" He gave me one shoe and he gave me a toothbrush. He said, "Get up on top of that, mound." We were all down on the bottom because it was a huge pile of garbage. He said, "No, get up there." He wasn't directing. We were just doing the scene together, but he would come up with ideas and he would give them to me. He'd say, "Here, you take this shoe, this thing, get up there. Say you found it." So I climbed up there and I did that. And then but that's John Candy. I mean, he's just a wonderful person. He's a wonderful Homo sapien. He's a wonderful human being. He just is a cool guy. There's nothing I could say against him at all. And a great guy to do a scene with. He's very giving. He's the best star.
That's
the best star. That's the other thing about acting. This thing about scene stealing or chewing the scenery or, being upstaging people and stuff like I don't know where those phrases come from. The better people are, the less that it even, they're just giving. Like Clint Eastwood taught me this. Now, he didn't say anything, but I just observed and said, this is how you act. We were doing a scene together. Maybe it was the first scene that we were doing together or whatever. And basically, it was just me and him. And all he did was he just fed me. This is Clint. It's his movie. I'm just, almost an extra. And this guy is just, he said, "Oh, you want to go there? Okay, here, here. And the more he gave to me, so I got a little more better at what I was doing, he would just float on my energy. He would just, so if I came in, if the scene was here and he said, "Here, Larry, make it better," my energy would go up to here, but his energy would go up to here. So then he would feed me more and my energy would go up to here, and then he would go up to here. So he was feeding me to get him higher, but meanwhile, he was doing me a favor. He was just giving me the scene. But the more, it's a magic thing. But I understand that. And I remember in the committee when we're improvising on stage, it's, don't deny is one of the rules of improv. It's always, so the less you deny, the more you agree with the other person, the higher the scene goes, the higher the laughs go, the more the relationship, even if it's an angry relationship, the more it bonds as a real thing together. So, and then I saw Brian did the same thing. I mean, yeah, he was PO'd a little because I went up on 2 lines, but basically he was doing the same thing. He gives you the scene. Nice. And that shows you 2 things: how great an actor this guy is, he's giving you the scene, and how smart he is, that it makes him better. He just, yeah. So, and all of them do that, whether consciously or unconsciously. That's how they become great,
Well, starting out and working with the likes of like John Huston and Don Siegel, and then directing your own short film, which was, nominated for an Academy Award in Solly's Diner, and you were also acting in it and you produced it. You wore a lot of hats with that, and that was your first project directing, right?
Yeah.
And what was that like, especially the reward of being nominated? That had to be...
Well, it was tough. It was very tough. It's probably the toughest thing I've done so far, because it was such a major bite out of creativity of my own. I mean, I was forced to do things that I'd never thought about, like directing it. I didn't write it to direct it. I wasn't told I was going to direct it. I was ordered to direct it by the cinematographer. I was doing it for the cinematographer. His wife told me he wanted to be a cinematographer. This Harry Matthias. He's a big he's a big deal now in Kodak, the Kodak Corporation.
Nice.
But back then he wanted to be a cinematographer, and he needed he needed the credit. So she said, "Why don't you write something for yourself? So you're an actor." We were in improv then in San Francisco. Write something for yourself. No, I was down in LA, but I just left. And write something for yourself, and let Harry direct it, so he can get a cinematographer's credit, so he can get into the union. You need the credit. You need to be hired first before you get in the union. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. I wrote this little 20-minute film short, Sally's Diner, because Sally owned the diner it was filmed in, and Sally didn't have any business. I was the only customer for weeks on end. Maybe one other person. I've only seen, I lived there for about a year, right around the corner from Sally's Diner. And the entire year, I always ate there because it was really cheap, and he would give me big portions because he knew I was starving something. He didn't know I was an actor, but he knew I was a hungry kid. And he'd give me big portions, but I only saw one other person in the whole year eating there at the same time I was. So he was starving. So I thought, well, I'll do it there. I'll pay him, like $300, $100 a day. He loved it. And we did it. But it was really hard because I didn't know how to direct. But Harry, such a sly cinematographer. He's a great guy. He was one of the reasons it got an Academy Award. But he was so sneaky. I said, well, who are we going to get to direct? I don't know any directors. He wanted to do it because he wanted the credit. So he said, you're going to direct. No, I've never directed anything. He said, well, you're going to direct. It's really easy. I'll help you. And I should have, that was the red flag. Because basically what he did was, if I was the director and wearing all those other hats, and I never directed anything, he could control me, In other words, to make it so that he would get his setups for the framing, because I didn't know, where do we put the camera? So he said, well, how about over here? I said, well, I don't want to, no, let's do it over here. And he go, no, Larry, let's do it over here. Well, that was fine because it seemed to lift the load off my shoulders. However, when we got into the editing room, I suddenly discovered what he was doing. He was making his reel, is what he was doing. He was just, making cinematography, getting into the union shots, which had nothing to do with the story. I finally woke up, in the editing room, and that's when it got really heavy. We were fighting. I mean, Harry is a really great guy, and so am I, but we were tooth and nail, threatening each other. I threatened I was going to burn the master and you'll never get your reel. I just... so awful in the middle of, I'm going down there right now. It's midnight. I'm going down there right now and I fucking burn it if you don't let me use the shot that I want to use. We're not using that shot. Oh, God. But finally we got it together. And then when I saw it, I didn't know anything about making movies, like the post-production part of it. I didn't know anything about when they're just, the editor and the director are in there alone. I didn't know anything about that. So when we got in there, we're putting it together. So we put it together and then we were going to screen it. So, I finally, got my way, I'd say 3/4 of the time. But every shot that he wanted had something to do with the movie. So, I mean, there's no shots in there that are extraneous just for his reel. But, some he chose, some I chose. We get that finished, and now we have to look to get into the Academy. There's two things have to happen. One is it has to even qualify, even to send it in. You have to have it shown in a Los Angeles County movie theater.
Oh, wow.
In the city of Los Angeles, it has to be shown for 3 days or more. Or you can't be shown less than 3 days. So it has to be booked in a movie theater. And what happens during the Academy, award sending in your stuff, all the movie theaters in LA, all of them are booked with film shorts or major features to be shown for 3 days. And you pay for it, you know, but they'll either show it in the afternoon so they don't interrupt their program, the movie program. Mm-hmm. So they show it in the afternoon every day for 3 days, and then you're in. Everything was booked. Afternoons, mornings, night, everything was booked. Features and film shorts all over the city. So we couldn't get in even if we wanted to. And that was a problem. And I really wanted to get in to the Academy. So I don't know how it happened. Somebody came up with an incredible idea. A pornographic movie theater would probably do it. So we went to the Pussycat Theater in Santa Monica, the Fox Pussycat, the Fox Pornographic Theater on Santa Monica. It's closed now. It's a market. And they said, yeah, sure, we'll play. You know, it was a 10-minute film short. And they said, sure. And then we phoned the Academy and we asked them. They said, yeah, it's a movie theater. That all it has to do is paying customers. That was it. Where in other words, where it's a profit-driven movie screen. Doesn't even have to be a theater. Profit-driven movie screen where patrons pay to get in. That's all that was thing for 3 days. So we got it into the pornographic theater, and I had just gotten a new girlfriend, and I wanted to impress her with, hey, I have a film short. It's in the Academy that we're going to send into the Academy. And why don't we come in? You want to see the premiere? We're showing it. And she was kind of an uptight young lady, but fine. Nothing wrong with being uptight. But when I told her where we were going to is this a pornographic movie? I don't want to go to oh, God. I said, no, it's not pornographic. It's not pornographic. It's just in a pornographic movie theater. We're not going to stay for the feature because you're with me. But okay, I didn't say that. So we went to see it. Now, here's what I think. I didn't know anything about editing. When you edit a movie together in the first cut, and we didn't have any time, so we had to give them the first cut. The first cut is called the marked up cut. It's not color corrected, and it has the grease pencil marks in it because when you're dealing with film, not digital but real film, you get a white grease pencil and you cut X here, and then you may and then you cut out here, and this comes out. So you're marking it with a grease pencil on the thing. That's what they were showing at this pornographic movie theater was the grease pencil first color corrected print just to get in. So we didn't care about if people laughed or not. At least Harry didn't. But I did. I didn't know anything about this color corrected grease pencil thing. All of a sudden, I got my girlfriend, here, and we're watching. I want to impress her. And this grease penciled, uncolor corrected comedy film short comes on in a pornographic movie theater with about 20 guys not sitting together all over the place, just quietly, waiting for the fucking to start. And now comes Solly's Diner. Oh, great, a movie. And you see them all get ready. Because I was watching them because it was a pornographic movie. I was wondering, what are they going to do? Well, they said, and the movie started. Now it starts with a waitress and a young man sitting at a counter, and you figure, okay, they're gonna fuck, right? So they're all set, and it's a 10-minute movie, and then a guy comes in and robs the place, and she's just talking, and I'm talking, and the gun comes out, and you could just see these guys going, when are they gonna get naked? What you just see, I just from the body language or from behind, you could read their minds. All of them, just and then they start looking around, looking up there, and then it's over. And then no, I hated it because of these pencils and the color corrections and no laughs. and my girlfriend didn't know what the heck was going on. And these guys are confused. So I thought it was awful, the whole screening. Harry was very pleased, and I didn't understand why. But he said, no, it's grease pencils. It's going to be color corrected. But, it flowed. There was a thing. It's good shots. It's good. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'd say, no, it's fucking awful, man. And we disappoint. And then I felt guilty about disappointing these 10 guys who didn't know what just happened. Hey, I paid money for Naked, and this is ridiculous, So we left, and I told him not to hand it in. That's what I told him. I said, no, this is. He said, what are you talking about, man? So we fought about that. Don't hand it in. And he goes, okay, man. Like I'm crazy. He goes, okay. And he just walked away. About a week later, no, had to be more than 3 weeks later. I just forgot about it. I'm just, I spent all that money, all that time. Oh, God. And I hadn't seen the color corrected print. He calls me, he says, I got some bad news and I got some good news for you. Okay, Harry, now what? All right, what's the bad news? He said, I sent it in anyway. Oh, no, man. What? Oh, man. What the hell is that good news? He goes, we got in. We're nominated. I go, the old-fashioned phones,
Yeah.
Those phones? He goes, we got in. We're nominated. Go. Don't ever do that again, Harry. Just don't, man. If I say don't hand it in, don't hand it in. Okay? Thanks. I wouldn't give in. I wouldn't tell him how crazed I was. But great, So we got in. Yeah, it was really great. And I got a tuxedo, a nice gray tuxedo, and I had to buy my girlfriend an Academy gown. Well, it wasn't a gown, but it was a dress, to be. Mm-hmm. So, well, I'm going to the Academy Awards. I don't have anything to wear. All right, fine. We got a limo. You went, but it was a downer for me. I went to the Academy Awards. I can say I went to the Academy Awards, and my film was in the Academy, roster there. But it was a downer for me because I didn't win. I mean, my attitude to the whole thing is, and the winner is somebody Pillsbury. I'll never forget that name as long as I live. The producer, Pillsbury. He's a big producer now. She won, and as soon as they announced her, I want to go home. What was the sense of handing it in if you don't win? I don't understand that. I'm here to win. Why did I come? You know how much money I just spent on that and this? It's just crazy. But it was when I finally calmed down, I came to my senses. It was great. Are you kidding? It was just great. It also got into Cannes, by the way.
Nice. Okay. That's awesome.
I know the film short part, which is there's no advertising for that. I mean, in around the world, there it's a big deal. Yeah. And so, show business is a cruel mistress. I just got to tell you that right now.
Well, again, you've been in some really amazing, truly memorable movies, and you played some truly memorable characters on some very famous TV shows. And I kind of wanted to touch down on that, or maybe who's some of your favorite characters that you played on TV.
Well, take a guess. See if you can. My favorite. What would you think would be my favorite roles? Of the roles that you know. I mean, you maybe only know 2 roles, but just take a guess.
I would say Old Joe might be your favorite, but I can tell you who my favorite was.
Yeah. What?
I can tell you who my favorite was.
Yeah. Who?
Old Joe is a very close second, but I have to say either Tom Pepper, because I'm a big Seinfeld fan.
Yeah.
And you just played a great role in that. And Gaunt from Voyager, Star Trek Voyager.
Oh my God, man. Oh wow, I'd forgotten about him. Yeah, Gaunt Gary was cool, and I'll tell you why. In other words, you see, here's the thing about favorite parts for me. It's not the part that becomes favorite to me, or if I say, yeah, like Gaunt Gary. Yeah, I love that part. It's not my favorite. Old Joe is, but I'll tell you why I like Gaunt Gary. Not because of Gaunt Gary, not because of that role, but because of something that I did with Gaunt Gary. And it's each role I do one little thing, you know, one little goal that I have for myself, like Gaunt Gary. I like doing Gaunt Gary because he was a pool player, and at the time I was a pool player. I wanted to be a hustler. That was what I wanted to be, and I was okay, but I was. There's no way I was going to be a hustler. It was just in my head, you know. But I was a good player. You know, if you give me a beer, I'd probably beat you, but no beer around. It's up for grabs. And if 2 beers and I lose completely. So it's a very fine line that I had. But I wanted, because he was a pool player, I loved it. Okay. But then I wanted to do a cool shot. You know, I had a couple of trick shots up my sleeve, and I was waiting for the guy to say, well, you know, why don't you play pool or, you know, do something on your own, Larry? But he never said that. He just, you know, did my lines and moving on and and I said, wait a minute, wait, stop. When he said moving on, I go, no, hold. And everybody goes, what? What do you mean? Hold on, we're moving on. And I go, no. What are you going to do with the pool table? He says, we got to get it out of here. It's rented. It's got to be moved now. I go, no. I wanted to do a trick shot. You know, just doing a little kid shit fit in front of all these people. Oh, you know, Gaunt Gary. No, I want to do a trick shot. He says, no, we don't have time. And said, come on, man. We don't have time. Come on. All right, geez. All right. So they had to put it down. They had the grips. All right, put the pool table down. He wants to do a shot. And they had to bring the camera back. So they bring it back. So he said, well, you're only getting one shot, you know. So I said, okay. So I set up this long. He said, no, that's too complex. We're going to I see why I did it. He said, okay. And he put the camera, they put the pool table down. Now it had moved, right? It moved about 3 feet this way. They put it down. And now the camera was about to move. And they said, all right, just hold the camera right there. And they said, okay, do you? I said, well, aren't you going to aim the camera at where he says, this is the setup. You do your trick shot, and this is where the pool table is, and this is where the camera is. If you can't do the shot, get out of here. So the only shot I could set up was across the thing, you know, bounce it off one, which I did, you know, and everybody's standing around now because I'm holding up the entire company, you know, but for some reason, I just wanted to do this. I just got it in my head and I just refused to let it go. So everybody's standing around with their arms folded across their chest. You know, the grips mainly, you know, they want to just do their job. So I did it. No applause, nothing, you know, and they say, okay, that's it, moving on. And they just forget. But it's in the movie. I think somewhere it's in the movie. And that was all. So to answer your question, I liked Gaunt Gary, not only because he was a pool player and I was a pool player, but because I got to do a trick shot, even though it was a silly little stupid trick, you know, boom, you know, but I did. No, what was the most favorite, I guess, was, Old Joe, just because of who he was and what I could do with him, because I instantly knew him. I knew Old Joe because that was my Uncle Murray. I was doing my Uncle Murray. And I wasn't imitating my Uncle Murray. I was being my Uncle Murray, because my Uncle Murray, God bless him, he's gone on to better things, he raised me mainly. He babysat for me when I was a kid. And I lived with him when my parents went away for a week for vacation. I stayed, you know, with him and his wife. So, you know, I knew him as well as my dad, and he was much hipper than my dad. So I kind of liked him. so I was doing him, and that's why I liked the role, because I felt totally comfortable in the role. Like you say, bringing it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I said, I can do Uncle Murray. I can be Uncle Murray. I just knew, I didn't have to have a backstory. There was no backstory for him or anything. I just put the costume on, and there he was. That's it. So, but I just liked him. I guess maybe because Uncle Murray. And then, Tom Pepper, or any other dried fruit.
Thank you for that. I will say you in that NBC lineup of they were basically spinoffs. You played a different character in the top 3 shows that were all connected.
Of what? What are you talking about?
Tom Pepper in Seinfeld.
Right.
You played Bob the security guard on Mad About You.
Right.
You played Mr. Heckles on Friends.
Right.
And all 3 shows are connected through characters. So Paul,
I don't understand. I don't see the connection. What do you mean by that?
Paul from Mad About You lived in Jerry's apartment on Seinfeld before Jerry moved in, and he was friends with Kramer.
Right.
Then you had Ursula was the waitress on Mad About You, was Phoebe's sister on Friends.
Holy cow.
And, so they were all connected in some way, and you're one of the only actors to play on all 3 in different characters.
Wow. That is well, now there's a piece of trivia I've never known.
Yep.
That is a stretch, man. Cool. Nice research.
Oh, thank you.
Very good. See, that's why I do podcasts. I learn something about myself that I've never known before. Every time I do one of these things, the interviewer says, now about this, and they tell me something I never knew that I have done 184 shows, either movies or TV. I've never known that. I learned that by doing a podcast. Some guy told me that.
Yeah.
And it comes up every once in a while, but I never knew that. Or these relationship things about shows, people do the research, and they come up and they say, hey, what about this? Like, holy cow. It blows my mind, the stuff that you guys come up with. It's just great. I'm just, whistling through my life, just da-da-da-da-da-da, not looking back, and then they say, hey, did you know about this? No, thank you.
Well, yeah, and it's such and like with the Star Trek connection, you were on Star Trek Next Generation and Voyager, so like you had.
Now, you know what I was on in the Next Generation?
You played the Wind Dancer in
the ball.
Yeah.
That is my favorite role of all time.
Really?
Yes, you can't pay somebody to get you a role like that. And if everybody doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, man, go check out Wind Dancer on, what is it?
You played on the episode
Star Trek.
Yeah, on Star Trek: The Next Generation, you played a Wind Dancer on the. It was okay. Wind Dancer was the episode, and you were the Wind Dancer. Yeah. Or Across the Living. I'm sorry, Across the Living was the name of the episode.
Across the Living. Okay, I'll tell. You people who are watching, I'll tell you what it is if you don't know, because it's such a great role, man. I played a soccer ball. I just played a soccer ball, just this. I was on a ball, but I had my face and I was talking, and I would just go with the wind. I I was a ball, just my face. And I had the makeup on and everything, and I was a real ball. It's just, yeah, that's the one I want, If there was a TV on my gravestone, I want that played.
That's fantastic. And yeah,
Here lies Larry Hankin. Woo, 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 woo. Hello, I'm dead now. Woo, woo, woo.
Well, I mean, I've really enjoyed our time being able to talk, and I want to, if I can finish it off on one question, and I really love to know, with all of the with the way your career spans and all the different genres, is there a certain genre you've appreciated playing on more than another, or?
Wow. A genre. Well, could you give me a hint? Like, you mean like comedy or horror or that kind of
Yeah,
genre?
comedy, horror, sci-fi. You were in one of
Well,
my favorite.
I've done all the genres that I know. I mean, because you're going to talk about thriller, chiller type of thing. I did a film short that I guess is shown every Halloween on, I think, Hulu or something, where I played a horror guy. Guy who kills people by getting them into a movie, and then killing them, and then putting their murder that I do, filming it. And that is in the next horror movie that I bring two more people in, couples. I was murdering couples. So I bring two couples in. They watch a murder on screen in a horror movie. And then I kill them, put them in a horror movie, and invite two other people. So it's like that, just bring, every time two people come in, they appear in the horror movie next. So just that, being in a genre. It's not a great part. It's for Hulu, but it's a horror movie. So I've done then, I think that filled in the last blank. So what genre do I love best? I don't know. I mean, like, what genre is Breaking Bad? What genre is, the sitcom, this sitcom, to me, that's a genre. Just
Oh yeah, absolutely.
sitcom.
Like Breaking Bad, I call like a crime drama.
A crime drama. Yeah, I don't know about genres. No, well, I'm writing a movie right now, and it's a road trip
Nice.
comedy. It's a comic saga of two people, an old guy and a young person going on a road trip. On a motorcycle.
Very nice.
So it's a motorcycle road trip. So that's my favorite because that's what I write about. Because that's what I know. Because I used to do that. I used to have a motorcycle. I used to, the motorcycle that Steve McQueen rode in that Escape Army movie, that Escape War movie.
Yeah, the Great Escape. Yeah, absolutely.
The Great Escape.
Yeah.
Well, he jumps over a fence on that motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
That motor. Okay, I had that motorcycle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that motor. I didn't have that motorcycle, but Steve McQueen. That was a Triumph motorcycle, and the company came to Steve McQueen and he said that motorcycle is so famous in that movie that we want to sell it or a copy. That was designed just for the movie. That was a unique motorcycle just for the movie. That Triumph made just for Steve McQueen so he could ride it and advertise Triumph. So Steve McQueen signed 5. They made only 5. And I have one of those. And I crashed it. Oh man, I nearly killed myself, man. So I gave up riding, but ever since then I've been writing about, but that Triumph motorcycle was really cool, man. I bought it in a shop. I just walked in. I said I want to buy a motorcycle. I had a lot of money in my pockets, from doing Hollywood. I said I want to buy a motorcycle, and there was an old junky motorcycle. It's full of mud. He said I just got this in. I said how much? He said give me $500. Cool, great. Can I ride it out of here? He says, well, yeah. He put some gas in it, and I rode it out. And it turned out to be Steve McQueen's one of 5. He didn't
That's
even.
Awesome.
But I had it. I gave it to somebody. After it was crashed, I gave it to somebody. I was road rashed all over.
Oh.
But I gave it away to a friend for $1 because he was a collector of great things. He just liked the motorcycle. He didn't know it was Steve McQueen's either. But he refurbished it. He paid, I don't know, about $1,500, $2,000 to get it all, cherry, brand new.
Wow.
And he had to send away for one part that he couldn't replace anywhere in LA. He had to send to Triumph. And he said, so he sent the serial number because he wanted a part. And they said, "You got this motorcycle?" And they go, "Yeah." He said, "That's worth a lot of money, man. That's a rare motorcycle. It's only one of 5 we made. You know, we're the only people who have parts for it. Send them the parts." And I saw it. He sent me a picture of it all tricked. Well, no, he wasn't tricked out. It was just all brand new. It looked great, man. But that was it. So that's the story of that. I don't know about genres, though. I mean, just
you love them all, right?
I just like being in front of the camera. That's it. I don't know why that is. I was born with it. I don't know.
And I will tell you right there, we appreciate you being in front of the camera. And I thank you so much for being on the show. This was great to listen to your stories. And I just really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us. And yeah, I mean, I'm a little starstruck, so you have to excuse me.
Well, okay, me too. Thank you.
Larry, thank you.
Mike, thank you very much.
And you have a fantastic day, and I will always appreciate this.
Okay, cool. And if you ever need somebody to fill in time, give me a call.
Absolutely.
Oh wait, I gotta do a commercial. Okay, can I just do a commercial?
Sure, absolutely.
I have a website, but it just happened today. I just got this today. I have a website. It's called thereallarryhankin.com. Thereallarryhankin.com, one word, small letters. You can't go to Larry Hankin. Somebody stole it from me and they're charging me money. They're holding me up and I won't do it. So thereallarryhankin.com. The reason is I do paintings. These are my paintings. These 2 are my paintings. All my film shorts. I got Sally's Diner and everything. They're on the site. My paintings are on the site. But today, I just saw T-shirts. All my paintings are on T-shirts. There's about 23 T-shirts. These are just 2 of them. They're on the T-shirts. And see this. There's one. There's one T-shirt. That's really cool. And here is the other one. This is the one with the painting. There it is. Wait a minute. See that painting right there?
Yep.
Here it is, folks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got 13 more. They're not all like that. Some are dogs, some are elephants, some are ladies, some are men. Just so go to thereallarryhankin.com. It's a great site. My films, paintings, T-shirts, bio, everything.
I will definitely have that link up on the descriptions of everything.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Oh, the T-shirts the T-shirts aren't up yet. They will be up in 2 or 3 days. But I just saw it for the first time, the beta copy. It's great. Okay, Mike, thank you very much, man. Really.
Thank you, and we will promote your site, thereallarryhankin.com. Everybody check it out. Check out his artwork. Check out Sally's Diner and his other shorts.
Oh, that's really cool.
So definitely, and until next time. Hopefully we can do this again, but thank you again so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye, people.
Care. Bye. And that was our show, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Talking to Larry was really awesome for me. Being such a big fan of TV and movies, Larry is certainly a recognizable face in the industry. Who's played some very memorable and great characters. So when I had the chance to talk to him, I jumped at it. I could not wait. So thanks for listening, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.